Today, we have the pleasure of having an event called Contributing to Sustainability in the New Normal. This is an event that talks about the importance of sustainability practices in the workplace and at home. We have the pleasure of having Metro Pacific Investment and even more higher pleasure, I would almost say, that we have Chaye Cabal-Revilla. She's the Chief Finance, Risk and Sustainability Officer of Metro Pacific Investment Corporation. She is the ED and the Chief Finance, Risk and Sustainability Officer. Over 20 years of extensive experience in telecommunication, manufacturing, retailing, and non-stock, non-profit organizations. Prior to joining MPIC, she held various executive leadership positions at the PLDT Group, the Philippines' largest fully integrated company. She was Senior VP and Controller at PLDT, CFO at Smart Communication, CFO and Treasurer at PLDT Smart Foundation, and the first Chief Sustainability Officer of the PLDT Group. She is an appointed member of the Financial Reporting Standards Council of the Philippines, the accounting standards setter in the country. She's the founding chair of Gabay Guru, the Philippines' biggest education advocacy program since 2007. She was an awardee at the 10 Outstanding Young Men in 2013 and the incumbent president of Toyom Foundation. She received various recognitions and awards for sterling achievements and advocacies, including several CFO of the Year awards. She was confirmed a AAA award from the Asian Institute of Management, the highest recognition given by the Institute to its outstanding alumni. She is a certified public accountant with a Bachelor of Science degree in accountancy from the De La Salle University and a Master of Business Management degree from AIM. She attended the Stanford Executive Program at the Stanford Graduate School of Business in California, US. Chaye is married to Deputy Speaker Honorable Strike Revilla and mother to her precious Rob and Chaye Lee. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. All right, I think we are ready to hear our speaker today, but just a very small reminder first. I know we have somebody from the media. Kindly help us to know if you want to quote something from this, please reach out and have it confirmed before you publish it. Just out of courtesy and making sure that it's done correct. Chaye, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for taking the time, and I know you just recently returned from abroad. I hope you will manage this event with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesper, and the rest of the Nordic Chamber of Commerce family for inviting us to share our journey on sustainability. The one sharing is Pauline or Joyce?
Pauline.
Okay, so just to give you a background on who we are. So we're Metro Pacific Investments Corporation. We're the leading infrastructure investment company in the Philippines. We touch almost everything that's basic in a Filipino's life. So power, water, toll roads, healthcare, light rail. Last year, first quarter last year, we also ventured into liquid fuel storage. And the first quarter of this year, we also acquired 100% of the real estate company called Lanco. We were actually the first ones to do BGC back then in the 1990s. And then we're also very focused on our waste management business through Met Power. So for power, we own the majority of Meralco. We are into distribution and power generation. Meralco contributes more than 50% of the power requirement of the Philippines. And for water, we also own Maynilad, the majority shareholder of Maynilad. And we also own other water concessions outside of Metro Manila in key cities like Iloilo, Cagayan de Oro, Dumaguete, and more. For toll roads, we own 100% of NPTC that actually owns NLEX, SETEX, Cavitex, Calax, which is being finished as the toll gates are done. And most recently, we inaugurated the Cebu-Cordova Bridge in Cebu, which linked the Mactan Island, particularly in the town of Cordova, to Cebu City. So we just rearranged our sustainability playbook because I was asked to share our journey and how we try to contribute to sustainability at the workplace. And then in the matter of doing so, we will also be sharing our strategy and the things that we're doing outside of the workplace. So for our framework, we start normally with our purpose. That's our North Star. For us, it is to really contribute to national progress and uplift the lives of the Filipinos and the communities we serve. And we do this for all our stakeholders, our own employees, our customers, the communities that we serve, again, our investors, our suppliers, our partners, and even the government and the regulators. From our specific strategy and our standpoint, what we have done was to integrate already our financial plus ESG. So how we do it for MPIC is a holistic and end-to-end approach on economic plus environment, social, and governance. And in doing so, we just released our first integrated report early this year. That's for 2021. And we also tried to move from just pure risk management to overall resilience across the business. And we have chosen 3 focus areas, which is progress, which is related to what we do and our impact to the country, planet, and people, because these are equally important. And we also have certain imperatives, right, on how we call these pillars, sustainability pillars, under these 3 focus areas. So under progress, it's really because of our business, resilient infrastructure and operations. And part of our ways of doing it, and we will share it with you later, is on governance and sustainability. Obviously, we're very big on ethical practices because we are a listed company, and that's who we are. For planet, we want to go into decarbonization, no matter how challenging it is for some of our businesses, particularly power. And we also want to be able to really take care of the environment and do social stewardship with it, because we know how important nature is and biodiversities are to our existence as humanity, and also to the communities, again, with the people that we serve. On people, we are so big on workforce excellence, which I will share with you later. And then we are also into innovation, and our focus really is on upping the ante on our customer service. And what we have done was to map this according to the impact, the UN SDGs, which we also have specific goals for this. And we have also transitioned ourselves from mere or plain CSR to really doing sustainability-linked advocacies that cut across advocacies that are important to us: education, livelihood, health and sports, youth and leadership, environment, and community development. Next slide, please. So on the fundamentals of sustainability, and you see this is what we have done as our journey, right? We had to start with governance because we had to officialize ourselves. The tone from the top is what started it all. Apart from management, we had a board oversight. We were able to form a governance and sustainability committee, which actually meet regularly, most often than any other committees. And we also directly report to the board in respect of the initiatives we have on sustainability. And we also had to change our policies and certain of our management systems to conform with our sustainability governance. Next would be reporting and disclosure. As you know, we have to deal with many standards and frameworks, right? And this is something that we're actually doing collectively. In the past, if you recall, we had several generally accepted accounting principles from each country had one, and now we have a unified international reporting standards or accounting standards that have aligned over time, and we are trying to collectively fast track the alignment so that companies and SMEs will be able to do the reporting easily versus having to consider many standards and frameworks, and the disclosures and the scope and the content of our reports, and again our mapping of the impact that we do to the UN SDGs. The other key fundamental to us is really strategy and performance, because we really wanted sustainability to be part of our day-to-day thing, a part of our DNA, if I may say so. So we have linked all our sustainability initiatives to certain operational KPIs and found impact and meaning into each item. And so later we will be sharing specific items that we're doing on this. And lastly, our stakeholder engagement, because as a company, we cannot do this by ourselves. Our hope is to be able to encourage all our employees to start here in the office. As you know, sustainability was sort of just a compliance thing in the past, right? But what we want to do is for all our employees to put this to heart and make sustainability personal to them so that they'll be able to do it both in the workplace and at home. And we've had many employee engagements and community involvement in the process. And also we've strategically collaborated with many partners, including the Nordic Chamber of Commerce, so that if we are able to touch one heart and make even a small change, then we would have done our job to make the world a better place. So on the sustainability strategy, this is quite straightforward. As I mentioned earlier, we don't do just ESG. We've put in E and financial plus ESG because we started with a traditional mindset that businesses are really for, financial reasons and profit, right? But we know for a fact that that's not sustainable, and we have to take care of everybody in the ecosystem. So people, and including people and planet. So what we have done was to do ESG again as a holistic approach. And we've also mapped out the capitals that we have been entrusted with, or we have borrowed, like funding from our creditors, and to make sure that each peso will turn into the sustainable impact that we have hoped for as a group. So again, this is, if you have read our imperatives in the first slide on the framework, the imperatives are the same. So for economic, it includes value realization, liquidity, and strong financial position, all the basic stuff, right? And on natural, related to our pillars on decarbonization. So we want a net zero plan, waste management, and we've tried to integrate environmental stewardship in everything that we do across our group. And we have also embarked in ecosystem and biodiversity protection. And for the S part, the yellow part, what's important to us is taking care of our people, because we know that our employees are integral to what we do. It affects their happiness and their trust and loyalty, and how they look at the sustainability as a perspective is something that will help also in their day-to-day work. And we've included certain imperatives on culture, diversity, and inclusion, human rights, which is very important to us. As a matter of policy, we've included all of these ESG imperatives. As in the past, as you know, we normally, when we do due diligence in certain acquisitions or M&As, right, we look at the financials and the legal stuff, which is just the E, the blue E there, and the G, to some extent, the red portion there. But now in our policy, in respect of our acquisitions, we also include the green and the yellow part. And for the G portion, we include obviously our board competence. And I'm very, and who they are. I'm very proud to say that we have a can I say kick-ass board for MPIC. They're very good and they care about the Philippines. They love, the planet, and it's so inspiring to work for a board that looks at sustainability in that way. And we also look into regulatory compliance, cybersecurity, all the checkpoints in governance, right? And ethical practices, obviously. Next. So again, because we were asked to focus on how we do sustainability in the workplace, as I mentioned, we really take good care of our people. When the pandemic happened, obviously everybody had to do work from home, right? And because of that, we also extended our benefits to include internet connectivity. So all our employees now are given a budget for internet connectivity because that's part of their work requirement also. And then we've also provided free multivitamins and medicines for our employees and their families. And we were one of the first groups in the Philippines to order vaccines for our employees and their dependents. And for us, we do regular RT-PCR. I think now it's once every 2 weeks. It used to be once a week. And for wellness, we also give everybody a benefit allowance. And for the people here who know me, part of our wellness is to do Zumba every lunchtime or after office, where we just sort of take care of each other's health and mental health. Next. So we do many programs for wellness. I think key to what happened in the last 2 years was to really take care of the mental health of our people. So we have many trainings and programs to do just that. And again, some physical activities also for our employees and a lot of workshops. So next. True to our commitment, we actually linked our incentive plan or our bonuses and our compensation to the achievement of certain sustainability linked imperatives and targets. So in the past, as in many of our groups, our bonuses or our compensation were just really linked to income, right? But we added ESG. And because this was the first year that we've done this, what we have done was to do a plus minus 10. It is a right minus wrong. So if you do it right, you have a bonus of say 10%. If you don't do it, then you get minus 10. Or it really depends on the weight of each imperative or each goal for each aspect. But so this is already in place, and this has been approved by our board. And the reason for doing so is, again, we want to embed sustainability in our DNA, in our day-to-day work, promote pay for performance, and really to show our commitment to our sustainability agenda, and obviously to drive long-term business value for the group. And because a lot of our institutional investors, because we are a publicly listed company, to include ESG metrics in, it's a plus for them if ESG metrics are included in the compensation plans of executives. But for us, we also included the employees because they wanted to be part of it. And again, as part of the required disclosures. Okay. So in respect of sustainability engagement, we embark into many initiatives, group-wide awareness campaigns for our employees. This is championed by our MPIC Group Sustainability Council. So I have not probably mentioned that we do have an MPIC Group Sustainability Council. This is actually composed of representatives of each company in MPIC. So the Chief Sustainability Officer of Meralco, of Maynilad, all the companies that we have in the group, and even their one-downs. We actually have a council, and we're very active. We have a chat group that has messages almost every other day. And we have also tried to look at how we can do our sustainability initiatives together, because as a group, we have a much bigger impact than if we do it per company. So our PR team has actually coined some awareness campaign, MPIC, making positive impact and contribution, right, to the world and to our communities. And we do many things, such as waste segregation, and then cleaning up your drive or your emails because it uses up space, which also uses up space in the data centers, which also uses up energy, etc. So if you collectively clean up all those things, it will redound to an energy reduction for the data centers and a reduction also in the storage requirements. Next. So true to our commitment, again, we entered into an agreement with BEST and Be Extra for this trash to cash campaign, where they will pay for all our segregated waste, right? And so we have done this to sort of incentivize our employees more. So the group or the group function or the team that are able to generate more, there's some of it's like a gaming type of thing, an employee contest type. Okay, next. As I mentioned earlier, we have tried to support ourselves. So the Gabay Kalikasan Plant for Life program is really a Maynilad initiative, because they're required, you know, by virtue of their business, to take care of the forest near their dam, Ipo Dam, and so the reserve there. So us in MPIC, we have also volunteered. I think we committed to take care of 70 hectares. So did First Pacific and Meralco, and I think the others, the MPW and all the other entities in the group, to enter into this reforestation program. So before, they were only able to take care of, say, 50 hectares. But because we've done this as a group, we're able to cover like 200 hectares now, and we hope to be able to do more. Part of our strategy to move from risk management to overall resilience is to really leverage on technology for our sustainability initiatives. I'm sure you see all the color-coded thing here for economic, social, environment, and governance, right? But for here, we want to focus on our social, which is really the workplace, which affect our employees, to some extent our customers, and the communities that we serve, because our people also go out to serve their communities. So we want to be able to showcase how we are using technology to improve the quality of lives of our people, internally and externally. So in the past couple of years, we tried to take a look at our IT backend and try to modernize and simplify it. As you know, we grew by acquisition, right? So there's a spaghetti type of IT infrastructure and planning behind our platforms. So what we have done was to work with IT to simplify and do a converged infrastructure, so it's more cost efficient and more simple for everybody. And during the height of the pandemic, we have our internal IT also, who did our project Sagip. This is the self-assessment on the health and information gathering for all our employees. So every day, all employees are supposed to check in on this health app. This is actually internally developed again, and which we sort of appreciated as a group. In respect of innovation, we embarked into an all-in-one access card, or an ID, a super sustainable ID, because as you know, you have separate cards for your credit cards, for your access card, for your company ID, for your tollways, etc. What we have done was to put everything in one company ID card, which you can use for many things. So it's also less use of plastic, and it makes your bags and your wallets also, you know, not so heavy. Okay, next. I think I mentioned this already in respect of modernization. We embarked on Rise with SAP. This is I think we were the first company in the Philippines to do this, the pioneer company, and we were given a citation by SAP and Deloitte, who implemented for us for being the fastest in the world to implement this, because we knew what we wanted, right? So we harmonized and put everything, all the smaller entities under Rise with SAP, because this is also a cloud-based solutions. While our biggest companies, Maynilad, Meralco, and MPTC are in the traditional SAP. They're also transitioning into this cloud-based solution. But we were MPIC, and the smaller entities, that smaller companies within the MPIC group, were the first ones to actually do this. And we want to be able to track all our sustainability initiatives and metrics along with the financial targets in the system through Anaplan and SAP. In the past, when we do our sustainability report, we ask everybody to populate an Excel workbook. Now we are trying we are in the process, we're not done yet. We are in the process of doing UAT with respect to our automated sustainability workbook. So less work and less stress for everybody doing this. Also, because of the pandemic, we actually had to fast track our MWell. This is our integrated healthcare and wellness app under MPIC. And this is something that we are actually attaching to our hospitals as well, given the fear of going to hospitals, right, and getting exposed, etc. We want to leverage on technology so that everyone can still avail of their health benefits and healthcare. And more importantly, what we have done was to also link this to a sustainability advocacy, where we did the platform in such a way that certain doctors are able to donate their time to do telemedicine and healthcare to Filipinos who aren't able to afford the basic fee. So we did a national health wellness week and then a month last year, and we're continuing to do this. There is even an initiative to open this to global doctors, because as you know, some of our friendly doctors in other countries embark on medical missions here in the country, and so this is to encourage them to also do medical missions in the digital way, basically to make sure that every Filipino, wherever they are, can have access to healthcare. And obviously that one is also used by our employees. So so this guy, Richard Branson, I met him many years back, and one key thing that I learned from his talk was that when your employees are happy, then automatically that transcends to how productive and happy they are at their work and how they will treat their customers. So I have always shared this thing to everybody, so that when we do our sustainability initiative, it cuts across not just our employees, but our customer experience as well. Because, from a business resilience and sustainability standpoint, our customers are obviously top of mind. And the ones who take care of them are our employees. So that's why we want to make sure that our employees are well taken care of, so they will also take care of our customers. So happy employees equals happy customers. So this is what we're doing together. So moving on to our customers, I think we will share all our initiatives again to make life relatively easy for our customers. So Meralco has done many online and customer centricity programs, app chats, and also being able to schedule their visit to the Meralco offices, like doctors, so that they don't have to queue in line, etc. And we're also in the process of doing smart meters, by the way, but it's not there in the slide. I just thought of sharing it. Next. would be for our MPTC group. They actually have this mobility ecosystem where we are thinking about the journey of our customers from the time they leave their homes to when they use our toll roads and to when they reach their destination, right? Whether it be at work or in the mall. So what we have done was to put ancillary services that would cater to their requirements. So even parking spaces, and now the malls have actually outsourced to us parking spaces because, you know, customers don't want to leave their homes and then go to the mall and not find parking. And also when you do rounds in the parking, they exude gas emission and waste gas. So what we want to do is to be able to provide them their specific slot already, so they don't have to like use up gas all the more. And I know some of you might react to this, but we are really trying our best to do analytics so that the traffic situation in our toll roads and even our toll gates will be minimized, so that you know, the users, which is actually on scope 3, will be able to save on gas and to also curb their carbon emissions. So that's on the way. For Maynilad, we know how important water is. We can survive without power or without internet connectivity, but without water, we would only be able to survive as humans within 2 to 3 days, right? So we have embarked into very upscale technologies from other countries to make sure that we are able to detect leaks. We went to Maynilad to kind of try. So they have this sort of a colonoscopy type of thing that you insert in their pipes underground, which will say which part of the pipe is leaking or something. So because at this point in time, given also our water source issue with climate change and the rains not dropping into our dams, they've changed the rainfall pattern already. So we really must take care of our water source, and therefore doing the very accurate leak detection is very key to us. So on the pandemic also, because part of the mental health and making sure that, you know, people don't go crazy because we have been locked down for 3 to 4 months, we have also embarked into this, again, I think I mentioned this, Polanco, a real estate and boutique hospitality business. We have their rooms in beachfront properties, and we also used the Milli app, where you can you don't have to go through the booking.com or through travel agents. You can just do the booking by yourself, and you can get your keys through the app. So there's no face-to-face exposure or interaction anymore. The other thing that we have done for this was to also use sustainability as a foundation for this business. So if you notice this cottage there, that's really not a cottage. It's a refurbished container van from our logistics business, where we use them and sort of dress them up to look like native things, but they're ultimately container vans, which we use as the casa, or the house, the rooms in the beach. And also the excess water pipes of Maynilad. If you see on the right side, the Caso Bay, that's not a ring light that you see. That's actually light outside a humongous water pipe excess of Maynilad, which we transformed into beautiful rooms. So it's like what they use in Japan, right? But it's like it's a bit bigger, where you're not claustrophobic, like you enter a, what do you call that? A nicho. You're when you die, something like that. But this one is huge enough because it has a small rep, it has a TV, and we've also put in paintings done by well-renowned ecological artist, AG Sanyo, who has also done many artwork in our facilities. So there. Yes, Jesper, you should go there. It's beautiful, actually. I wish we had more pictures of the sunset, etc. And we put in PLDT fiber there, so everyone can work from home there. I promise you, because our boss MVP, he goes there on weekends to work there, to be able to breathe fresh air, you know, and eat fresh seafood like that. So part of our employee and community engagement is to, again, I think I mentioned this already, link our programs to our sustainability advocacies on environment, education, youth and leadership, health and sports, livelihood, community work, because we really want to be able to marry profit plus the purpose that you saw in our first slide, because there's no one stopping anyone or any company from doing good while doing well, right? So, and it's a circular thing. When it's karma, I think. When you're kind, it goes back to you. And again, with how much you make your employees or your customers happy, then they stay with you. This is actually inspired by our chairman's passion on making a difference to guide the country as part of our North Star. So these ones, we selected certain initiatives. We are, again, as I mentioned earlier, we're protecting the Ipo watershed. If we had a before and after picture of this mountain, the watershed, which is also, by the way, important to the Maynilad business and our water source, because you know how it is, right? If you look at science, if there's many trees and forests there, then the rainfall will go there, because there's a cycle that goes from plants to the sky and raindrops, etc. And so, and the other thing is, if we also allow illegal logging to happen, it affects the turbidity of the water, meaning how dirty the water is in respect of everything else. So it means that our water source is also affected. So we want to be able to take care of everything. So part of our investing in nature is to embark on our marine ecosystem protection through our program called Shore It Up. This has been up and running for 14 years now, and that's what we really do, take care of. I think we've just signed with Palawan, the Palawan government, and Tubataha reefs, because all these things, if you see the fish there, the families of fish, they actually provide the livelihood for our many fisher folks in those communities. And also equally important to us is to protect mangroves, because it also protects the land base and the communities that we also serve. And we do underwater cleanups. By the way, you are welcome to join us if you want to volunteer. So this isn't just an MPIC group initiative. We have many volunteers from outside as well. And this is something we do with our families, by the way. For education, we've done Gabay Guro, which is really our advocacy for teachers, because we know that good education starts with good teachers, especially in the public schools, right? And so we have done more than take care of our teachers. Our other group of companies have also embarked on many other things, and we are working with DepEd also to include sustainability and environmental protection as part of their curriculum. So on the youth, because we know that they are our future, so we have embarked on many things on the youth and the children. Apart from putting up solar panels in schools for those far-flung islands, we also have, because we do have basketball teams, right? We have certain communities in Tondo, for example, that help them with sports and discipline instead of them just loitering around or doing drugs, etc. We want to be able to make sure that our children and our youth are well taken care of in respect of all their needs and including their values. On communities, I think we're one of the first also to respond to any calamities or disaster risk management. We are the core group that is part of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, which is the consortium of the many big entities here in the Philippines, which include Ayala, Aboitiz, apart from our group, Shell, and everyone, because what we have done in the past when Haiyan happened, this was in 2013, Yolanda happened, what we did was to call them all together and included the likes of Jaza to be part of our board. And what we did was to consolidate all our assets that the LGUs and communities can use as a group. So again, I think when you collaborate, even if you are competing in certain businesses, but if you collaborate and have the welfare of the Filipino at the forefront of what of your mind and what you do, then we actually are able to help more and create a bigger impact. Next, for livelihood, we actually provide livelihood opportunities for our communities, the nearby communities. So specifically for CCLEX, that's the bridge in Cebu, Cordova. We provided boats to supplement the fisher folks there, and because some of the boats that they were using were really not safe anymore for their fathers, and sometimes they bring their children, their sons, the young sons, in respect of fishing, right? So we actually gave them new boats. For Maynilad, what they do is that every year when they change, or every 2 years when they change their uniform, they donate their t-shirts to certain women communities who actually make bags out of them or anything out of those t-shirts that were not going to be used. So instead of those shirts getting into waste piles, right, or landfills, then they're able, the women communities are able to transform them into something more useful for them, and they can actually derive livelihood from. Yeah. For health, because this is also part and parcel of our business, which is the hospital group, and now with MWell, our digital healthcare platform, we embark in many medical missions. And again, we want to be able to make sure that the Filipinos who aren't able to afford are able to get health access through the MWell app from the generous doctors who have donated their time to do telemedicine without pay. I'd also like to share what we have done during at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, where, you know, here in Manila, this is really the epicenter of the virus, right? And we had so many cases, and we were losing nurses and doctors left and right. We were able to get some doctors and nurses from our provincial hospitals to volunteer. They stayed here for I think 4 to 6 months to help out our hospitals because they were really full. They only did not help our hospitals that we own. They also volunteered to do work in the government hospitals. So we always say that we want our families to be also involved in sustainability. So what we have done for MPIC is we've included our families, our children, in our advocacy program, so they know how to clean up waste in seashores, and they realize how blessed they are when we go to foundations like the Mano Amiga Foundation, so that they will not take things for granted. And it's really, starting them young to care about other people and the environment other than themselves. And here, we also embarked on recycling and upcycling. Again, if Maynilad donated their used up shirts, which they will change, So the employees also of the MPIC group have also donated and sometimes sold at a very low price their, unused stuff so that other people can actually use them. And for me, what I have done was to also recycle my outfits. So you can only, for a woman, you only get to wear your gown once, right? But because I'm into sustainability and I have to walk my talk, so I like the green gown that I'm wearing there, I've recycled that 3 times already. So the first one was long sleeves, the second one was Filipiniana, and the third one was a sleeveless thing, using, the same dress and putting just belts, etc., just to make sure that we're able to use it over and over. And yeah, I'm doing another design for it, so it doesn't again go to the landfill. And I think the picture here, we've included some of our spouses and our cousins, our brothers and sisters in the advocacy programs that we do. So the other thing that's important for us, part of the sharing of our initiatives, is to our heeding for climate action. So what we've done was to get into reforestation, mangroves preservation, marine protection, wetlands conservation, because nature is really the foundation of our economic growth, right? Nature provides the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the food that we eat. And so these are all finite resources, and if we don't take care of them, it impacts our businesses and our existence as humanity. And so we are very focused on this. And as a testament of our focus, what we have done was to design, build, and operate in the least environmental and social disruption. One story that was actually featured by, was it National Geographic or Discovery? Anyway, that the Bridge of the Future, because the original design of the bridge, CCLEX, was just a straight line bridge because it's cheap, the cheapest, etc. But because if you notice in the left side, upper left, we were going to disturb and kill almost 300 hectares of mangroves. What we did was to veer away from it and veer around and design it, even if it was much more expensive for us. And it took a bit of time, but we had to do it because we care about the environment. So, and our mother planet, because this is our only home. And because it takes years and decades to, plant mangroves, so we had to do that. That was a very conscious decision on our part. On the right side, I think I already mentioned this earlier with respect to Lanco. So that's the original, the before and after, the using of excess concrete pipes and the container vans into resort facilities for Lanco. You should go there, it's really beautiful. And some of our plants also for GBP, that's MGen, our power generation plants. We've also used container vans into offices and rooms for certain remote areas. Next. We also want to invest in environmental protection programs. So we did not only veer away from the mangroves in Cordova. What we have also done was to put up a mangrove protection facility there and training all of these mangrove guardians to make sure that, we did not veer away from it, but other people will cut it so that it's still preserved. And with respect to our tollways, we have started to do greening already in certain parts of NLEX and Cavitex. We're doing the bougainvillea planting and some tree planting already on the side. So once you travel through our toll roads, you see all the greens. And I think I've already mentioned the Maynilad program on afforestation on the watersheds. Next. So again, corollary to our protecting the environment using technology, we have partnered with many startups, and we've actually gotten a donation from Huawei, because part of the thing that we were doing is to put bioacoustic equipment so that we are able to curb efforts to do illegal logging, and we partnered with a startup company from San Francisco. So that's Christopher White that you see there climbing the trees, and he's installing all those things. And there is an app that is accessible to us and accessible to rangers and barangay captains and officials. So what we have done, the notification, because we wanted to make sure that no one group has the notification, because we don't know who are into this, right? So the notification is given to the DNR, to the LGU, to us, to the NGO, etc. So there are many who actually get to monitor this. Speaking of our water source initiative, we have also adopted Laguna Lake with our LAWA program. That's a Laguna Lake Awareness Protection Program. And we've partnered with Congress, with the LGU surrounding the tributaries within the Laguna Lake, and the agency that's heading the protection of Laguna Lake, LLDA, and the DNR to protect Laguna Lake, because you don't really want to soil it or to throw garbage and other stuff in it if we drink it, right? So because we have 3 water, 2 that's working and 3 that's almost completed water treatment plants in Potatan, accessing water in Laguna Lake. We are also happy and proud to say that we are the first in the Philippines to be invited to be part of the TNFD forum. So the task force on nature-related financial disclosure group is something that's being done today, and we're actually part of the development of the framework, which will be released sometime in 2023. This is going to be an add-on to the TCFD, because the TCFD task force on climate-related financial disclosures just use certain metrics and disclosure items on how your business impact the climate, and how the climate also impacts your business, right? But this one specific to nature, how nature will affect your business, and vice versa. So we are proud to be one of the first here. I think even now we're the only Philippine company that's part of the TNFD forum task force. We were also the one officially chosen by ACB to be the partner here in the Philippines in all their environmental protection programs in respect of various biodiversity protection and initiatives, because they've seen what we have done, and they said that they also want to be able to collaborate and help us in all our programs. And so our company, MPIC, represents the Philippines in the 10 ASEAN region ACB. We were also the first ones cited by the DNR to do urban biodiversity protection and awareness. So we have just adopted a park in Quezon City. So that's City Admin Mike Alimorong, because Mayor Joy Belmonte could not attend, where we adopted a park in Quezon City, and we want to make it an urban park, because that's what we need here in the Philippines. In other countries like Singapore and others, they have very beautiful parks, and we want to start that here in our major cities. And so we're doing this first ever urban biodiversity park, and they have agreed to and asked us to name it Gabay Kalikasan Park. I think I also mentioned this. We partnered with the Palawan local government, the provincial government, and the local government within Tubataha to protect the reefs and in its natural park, because obviously they need funding for this, and we sort of just we have committed to help in some ways in trainings, training their guardians, and also providing certain technology that we are already using in our other programs to protect the ecosystem and biodiversity in Tubataha reefs. So as I mentioned before, I mean, we're really committed to this, not just on what we do, but from our reporting perspective. We've published our first integrated report last month, and first company in the group to do that, and first company in the First Pacific group also. And again, if you look at certain integrated reports, you only see ESG there, the green, the orange, and the blue. But what we've done as a matter of discipline for us was to also include economic indicators in our, it's really a holistic and a true integrated report. What we've also done was to do Sustainability Summit. We've invited many foreign speakers, renowned in their own right, in their own areas, for our board of directors, for our employees in our group, so that they, on a regular basis, they learn something about sustainability. And it's not just something that we do as a matter of compliance. So this is something that we do on a regular basis. We are also happy to say that MPIC was chosen to be one of the 2,000 most influential companies by the World Benchmarking Alliance. They actually take a look at certain companies that will have an impact in shaping the future of the world, and they have chosen MPIC to be part of it. We will also be included in a certain benchmarking initiatives, say for example on urban transformation, and what we do to make sure that all of these urban transformation initiatives are also linked to the UN SDGs in the things that we do. So there. We are also happy to say that we've actually earned the Sustainalytics badge on ESG Regional Top Rated and ESG Industry Top Rated. This one, we just chose the similar businesses to us, to MPIC, which are the holding companies and the conglomerates. And we are actually proud to say that we rank #1. So how it goes here is the lowest score, which means the lowest risk for investors, for all the stakeholders, the higher you are. So last year, we actually got the best score, also 12.8. I didn't think that we were going to best ourselves. But when we submitted everything else that were required of us this year, we actually got even a better score at 11. So, but again, we've stayed the course in respect of the #1 holding company or conglomerate in the Philippines. We were also rated A by Glio and GRESB. These are the bodies that take a look at listed infrastructure companies. And we are actually very proud to say that we are the only one from, I think, from Asia Pacific to be part of this list. It really just means that if you try to do your best, the world sees it. And so it makes all our effort worth it. We have also been invited to be part of the Swedish Institute Management Program for in Asia for this year, given our many initiatives on sustainability. And they want to be able to help us even, make ourselves even more trailblazing than where we are now, by giving us certain programs and by including us in the management program in their choice. And then, because we are part of the A4S, which is an organization that was done by the Prince of Wales, we normally get invited to global talks for C-suite executives. And that's Jessica over there. She's the chairperson for the Accounting for Sustainability. Again, the org done by the Prince of Wales. And this is done by the GRI, which is one of the biggest standards setters body on sustainability globally. So last week, I was also invited to be part of the McKinsey Global CFO Forum, which focused on sustainability. And so I met the many great CFOs of big companies there. and we exchanged ideas and initiatives. And again, when we do these types of things, you learn a lot and they also learn from you, and it makes everything else from a collective responsibility on sustainability much easier and much lighter. We were also part of the Asia Pacific CFO Leadership Network as a founding member. We were specifically asked by the org and the Prince of Wales. So originally, they only have this network, CFO network, on sustainability in Europe and US and Canada. And they inaugurated, or they formed a network of 7 of us for now, from Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, and we are the only one from the Philippines. And we are very humbled to be chosen because we're the only ones that's really not, developed type of country, right? So they see our value also in respect of our initiatives and our contribution, because like the Philippines is one of the mega biodiversities countries in the world. And if we are able to do our job in taking care of our environment and our people, then we would have made a huge contribution to the betterment of the world. Last March, this was my first trip abroad ever. The Prince of Wales invited a very few CFOs from the US, Canada, EU network. I think I was the only one from Asia Pacific then, because they wanted the roundtable to be very small, given still the fear of COVID. And so I had the opportunity to get to sit in his table. And he, for those of you who actually watched The Crown, he's much better than that. So he knows sustainability in his heart. Initially, he had 3 pages of his speech, but I think after the first 2 paragraphs, he put it down and he spoke from his heart. And it's very inspiring that like a global leader like him cares about, what will happen to our children, to our planet, etc. And so this is part of his advocacy, leadership advocacy, to really champion sustainability. In respect of our governance, I think I mentioned this earlier. We have formalized everything from the board to the board sustainability committee, to my role as CSO, CFO, and CRO, and the MPIC Sustainability Council, which MVP, our chairman, has actually extended to the rest of the MVP group, which includes now PLDT, SMART, Felix, and RHI. That's why, Jesper, we're into Agri also as a group, because they're part of our Sustainability Council. And these are the global sustainability standards that we comply with. Again, we want to be able to simplify things. We are part of the task force that does that. So hopefully things happen quickly, so life will be easier for us. With respect to sustainability in our businesses, obviously from a power perspective, we are into many solar power plants. This one is in Bulacan. We've just had the approval for a bigger solar plant in Baras Rizal. We're looking at Cavite and many other things. And they also have the e-vehicle green mobility program. Next, for our toll roads on the left, they've actually done their new building in Cavite into a green building. They also got a LEED certification for it. So their facilities are solar paneled, and I think they're able to save electricity or power by 30-40%. On the right side, this is also Maynila. They also have solar powers in their treatment facilities to try to also curb their carbon emissions and the use of energy or coal energy. This one, I think I broadly mentioned this. We are into waste management using anaerobic technology. This one is with Dole Philippines in Mindanao. We are doing other, I'm not sure if I can say it, but don't say na lang ha. We are also doing one for Del Monte, Nestle, and Jollibee. this year. We're doing those this year. This one for our South group and our North group, which is NLEX, they have been again conferred with the LEED certification in their new building, green building. And NLEX has been continuously doing ISO certification for traffic management and more. So also with Maynilad, they also got the Energy Management Insight Award for by the Clean Energy Ministerial for an excellent energy management program. And this one's for our LRT group. They were able to achieve the 20 million safe man hours, which is, you know, a global and an industry best for them, for their employees and their customers. And then they're also into solar powered or battery operated buses to transport their customers from a CX experience from the LRT to the main areas where they actually get to ride going home. And as I mentioned earlier, everything that we do is really going beyond our service as to the Filipino people. While most people stayed home during the pandemic, we were all out there and we were going to work every day with our hospital group, trying to make sense of COVID at that time and curing people and putting their lives at risk. We kept the water flowing, we kept power on, and during the hard times at Odette in Cebu, Bohol, and Leyte, we flew in trucks and people from Maynilad, our linemen, to help these cities that are actually not part of our franchise area, that are actually part of Aboitiz, our competitor, to make sure that power, you know, is restored. And just to share with you, our linemen had to stay there for some 6 weeks and 2 weeks, where they had to miss Christmas with their families, and all for the love of the country and the Filipino people. And I just like to close that, you know, there to me and to all of us here in MPIC, and I'm sure you also feel the same way, that there is really a pervasive and bigger application of sustainability. From you start with yourself and transcend it to your family, in the workplace, and in the community, in the society which we help and serve, right? Because at the end of the day, everything that we have now, including nature, people that we love, the work that we have, our health now, is a gift from God. And it should be our responsibility to take care of this precious gift, not just for ourselves now, but for our children and their children's children in the future, so that, you know, humanity will be able to survive and thrive.